English shorthand dictation at 100 words per minute. Ready? Start. I recall how, after years of struggle and suffering, India has won independence and shaken off the foreign yoke. All of us who took part in this struggle did so with the idea that when independence was achieved, there would be good government in India. When we accepted partition, it was with the sincere desire that we should thereby be enabled to work out our own salvation unhampered by the factors which rendered progress impossible. At the same time, we wished Pakistan well and hoped that under settled conditions, when they realized that we were really brothers and not two nations of different faiths and ideologies, they would come back to us. But the poison has been injected too far by the ceaseless propaganda of hate and of the two nation theory. The result has been that no Sikh in Hindu can live in peace and safety in Pakistan, a fact which had its reactions in that no Muslim could live without fear and East Punjab. Nevertheless, we have to so order our conduct that no further religious quarrels taint our history. We must all live in amity and goodwill and must not tolerate Gunda Raj, which is being perpetrated in various areas owing to the spirit of lawlessness which the last few weeks have generated and prompted. After alien rule, to which both the rulers of the states and the people were equally subjected, has been removed, all those who are left belong to one family. There can therefore be no quarrel with the princes. They are ours and we can make them understand and appreciate our point of view. But before you can make them understand and ask them to relieve themselves of the burden which they are shouldering, it is your bounden duty to make ourselves worthy of taking over those responsibilities. It is not enough to ask for responsible government. You must know how to digest it. No government can function without popular support. Their two states are living examples of how, in the fitness and fullness of time, popular unity and strength had made the rulers part with power. This shows that we must change our method to suit the new circumstances which the departure of alien rule has created. I myself took part in many a fight with rulers in the past, but I always told them, and my struggle was not with the rulers as such, but the days of vilifying princes, calling them names and maligning them are gone. It is not only a waste of energy to concentrate on them, but also needless irritation in a profitless undertaking. Our method now have to be guided by a more friendly approach and a spirit of understanding and goodwill. No government anywhere in India can be carried on without popular support. I am sure the princes themselves realize that their interests lie in taking the people with them. Why should we therefore pick quarrels or choose the path of ill will or hostility? I appeal to you to cultivate a proper sense of moral values. I ask you do a little heart searching. We can only advise you, but you can act on that advice only according to your capacity. If you are selfless workers, you will get your reward. But if you become involved in mutual jealousies and religious quarrels, you can only do damage to the cause which you profess to uphold. When we achieved independence, it was with a view to carving out for India a place in the world polity and to raising to stature and the standard of living of the people. Instead, we find ourselves fully preoccupied with the task of meeting the most gigantic problem of refugee relief that has ever faced man in human history. This is not the time to involve ourselves in needless disputes, nor can we ever afford to follow the mirage of many stands like Khalistans and Sikhistans or Jatistans. If we are not careful and become a prey to these inimical ideals, we can only succeed in turning India into a Pakistan. It is therefore up to you to forget your mutual quarrels and behave with a sense of responsibility and in a spirit of cooperation and goodwill. We have formidable tasks before us: attacks on railways, looting, and the part which sometimes even the military and the police play in such incidents merely show that we are face to face with moral bankruptcy, which, if not checked, must mean downfall and ruin. Remember, if a hungry man dies of starvation, he dies without a stain on his honor, but one who steals to feed himself virtually suffers from living death. He has not followed the path of honor and glory, but that of shame and disgrace. If we want popular government, we must build up popular support and strength. Princes want respect and reverence. They will gracefully yield to popular demand if they find that a sense of responsibility and popular support prompts and popular organizations to achieve its goals promptly. Stop.